10 p.m. and Saturdays 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. We love families and kids are welcome. At Embrace Fitness, we believe that a family that works out together will stay together and live healthier and happier lives. So embrace the new you. We're located on Airport Boulevard near Cody Road. Try Embrace Fitness Training Center today. Your first visit is on me.
Princess Creative Productions can provide affordable and professional video services for small to mid-sized businesses. Our in-studio virtual set shoots start as low as $200. Let our expert get to work on your next video project. Call 251-421-4490 to book your next shoot. And we're back on the Color Outside the Box podcast with your hostess, Princess Miller, and our very special guest, Minister Cory Penn. Now, Cory, before we went to break, we were talking about establishing that relationship with God, and we were talking about, how it's important to get that right first before you can even enter into the marriage state. Yeah. And until you get that right, you can't be successful in the marriage state. Talk to us about, some of those tidbits that you learned coming up in y'all marriage that help you get to where you are now.
Honestly, every week I'm learning something new. Like, it's so amazing. I went to a conference last week and he said something. It was for like business or church, but I took it for myself. I was like, oh man, this is so good. I thought about my marriage. And he said one thing. He said, what is one thing that you can do to make a major difference basically in your household? Like with your, I'm using my wife as example. Like, what's one thing I could do for my wife that would make life easier for her? I was like, wow. I was like, I'm like, I know the one thing. The one thing is she hate when I leave something on the table. Like she hates that. And she mentioned it was 2 weeks ago. She made the statement. She said, okay, Cory, we've been married. It'll be 11 years this month. 11 years this month. And every day you leave something on the table. So when I came home from that conference, I purposely made sure that, okay, I'm not going to leave anything on this table. Wow. And the next day, she was almost in tears. It blew me away. Like, it hit me. I'm like, wow, I wasn't listening. Because I took it as something that just move it. If you see it, just move it. Why I have to do it?
Sound like your uncle.
So simple, right? Like, and she's in tears about me just putting my stuff up. That's amazing. And so it made me understand that sometimes we think we're listening, but we're listening to what we want to hear. So I think a great tip is just truly listening to those small things. Like, start there, become excellent in that, right? And so the next thing what else that I can do to make your life better? And then you start working on that, and you'll be so amazed. Like, man, we're doing really good, So of course, I think that's one tip, and something that we always is praying together. I think that's just it's vital for every marriage to pray with each other, to talk about the things that you would like to see in your household, things that you want to see individually, so I can pray with you about the things concerning you as well, because it affects me. So why not do it together? So those are a couple things that I think will help someone out.
I love how you brought prayer and communication in. We have marriage checkups in my marriage, and every now and then when we're not talking about kids and bills and everything else, we do marriage checkups. Well, baby, how am I doing? Well, and he'll ask me the same thing, and is there anything that you desire? We just, because I want to keep that line of communication open. I find in some relationships, when there's no communication at all, what happens is somebody else comes in. And then they become that listening ear.
That's it.
I knew of a marriage. They had been married over 30 years. And the wife had gotten to the point where she was no longer listening to her husband. And so He was at work. Young lady came, and he started talking about something, and she listened, and she complimented him. And so it went from her just listening to something about work to, let me tell you about some things I got going on. And she listened. Yeah. And then he said, well, let me give you my number. And they exchanged numbers. Now, I don't believe, and he said he did not, commit adultery. I don't believe he did. But he just missed his wife listening to him. Yeah. And it's important, to make sure that we're doing everything that we can to close all doors.
That's it.
Because, the devil, he's cunning and crafted, as the Bible says. Yeah. But he has no new tricks.
That's it.
And in something as simple as she don't listen to me could turn into, something entirely different and tear a marriage up.
That's so true. Leaving the door open is an invitation. Mm-hmm. And that's what we as believers have to understand, that, if you leave a door open, you're allowing the enemy to get in. And that's what he's waiting for. He's looking for a door open, a window open, and you should allow that. You got to, protect your marriage. Mm-hmm. And that's important, because you don't give room. And even though I'm glad that he didn't commit adultery, but that could have led to something else. Mm-hmm. If he wasn't strong enough, because sometimes you have moments there you're weak. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a long time feeling that you don't have anyone to talk to, or your spouse is not listening to you. So I'm glad he didn't go that route. But again, it's very important to close those doors.
Mm-hmm. And people, stay out of folks' DMs.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's social media is crazy. You get caught up, because you can have one of those days. You can have one, and somebody say just a simple, man, that's a powerful, encouraging word, and then they send you something ooh, it's so, you could have said that publicly. Mm-hmm. I don't understand that. You have to send me a private message, say that's a powerful word, man of God. You can write that under that same post. So what you're doing, you want to create conversation and say, okay, thank you so much. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, yeah, I want to. Now you opening that door, and you have to be mindful. Now it's nothing wrong with saying, talking to someone, but be mindful of it, and if you can't send it publicly, then you might need to find another way, especially if that person is married. Mm-hmm. Maybe try to reach out to the wife first to say, hey, your husband did an awesome post, and I just, I would like to talk to him about some things. Is it in a way that you can be in a room? See, these different, you protecting yourself, but don't open those doors. So I agree. Stay out the DM.
Yep. Because I can't tell you how many times people be, they'll DM, oh, you so beautiful, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, thank you. My husband thinks so, too. That's Unfriend, unfollow. Yeah. Before we get out of here, because we're actually over.
Okay.
All right. So I want you to talk to people about somebody that desires to be married, but they don't know exactly how to find that one, what to do to find that one. You were blessed enough to be able to be sitting in class. Yeah. And she walked in. Mm-hmm. I was blessed enough and didn't even know it at the time in high school to be eating lunch one day with the guy that I was going to marry. Had no idea. Talk to someone that's they're searching, which they shouldn't be searching. They should be praying about it. But talk to them what they need to do to get there.
I think you hit it on the head. I didn't realize at that moment. I don't think it's just we just ran into each other. I think it was destined from this. I talked to my wife about it, and she told me years ago. She went to a word teaching church, so they was talking about a message, and she said they asked her to write down what you wanted to see in life, things that you want to accomplish. And one of the things she wrote down is she wanted to find her husband at a young age. And she wanted that because, of course, she was a virgin, and she wanted, the older you get, to get a little challenge in her mind. So she wanted to find a husband, and she prayed about that would be a guy who had that same want to live for God. She just wrote it down, and I'm telling you, I was like, wow, you did this early. So I totally agree. I think having a prayer life and writing down what you want, it's very important. The Bible says, write the vision, make it plain. So I think we have to do that. We have to write down what we would like to see, what we want, and also pray that we're getting knowledge and wisdom from God, what we want. Because sometimes the thing that we want is not what we need. So I think that's the important.
Awesome. So, Cory, if someone wanted to, come to your church or get in contact with you for ministry purposes, how would they contact you?
You can contact me through social media. I know we just talk about social media, but I'm on all Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and it's Cory Penn. Everything is Cory Penn. Cory Penn at Twitter, Cory Penn, Instagram, Cory Penn. So you can just search me on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever works for you. You can find me, and all my information and everything is on there, and the church information is on there as well. So I look forward to for you coming and visit.
Well, I certainly appreciate you coming in and sitting down with us today. And we got a couple of more shows. So,
okay, I'm excited.
Some really great topics coming up. I want everybody to stay tuned this month to the Color Outside the Box podcast with your hostess, Princess Miller, and we will see you next week. Color Outside the Box is a podcast series that focuses on creating a better you. Whether it's advice about family, relationships, raising children in this technological world, marriage, or careers, we seek to find the answers to help you live your best life. So start your Monday morning off right with me, your hostess with the mostest, Princess Miller, on Color Outside the Box right here on iTunes and everywhere podcasts can be heard.